What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are beginning our series on this channel and with my friend Mr. Graves, who the link to his channel will be in the description down below, as it always is when we do these collabs. But today we are going to be starting episode 1 of predicting every NFL game for every week of the season. We'll be doing it weekly, Wednesdays and Thursdays, depending on how our schedules with schoolwork and other work, how they show out or how they end up each week. It'll be either Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, or about Thursday afternoon, usually around 4 each day. If you guys enjoy this type of content, turn post notifications on and check out the playlist link so you know you can get access to all the videos in one place and you're alerted every time we post these videos weekly. Let's go ahead and get right into predictions. I'm really excited for this one. I hope you guys join us on this journey. We'll be talking about relevant topics, everything that's going on in the NFL in these videos. Let's get into it.
All right, so here we are at the schedule with all of our games left to right. We got AFC, then the cross conference, and then NFC. I guess let's not waste any time and just dive on into the first one. So we got the Colts at the Texans. Now, I don't know about you, but this seems like kind of an easy one.
Yeah, I think this is easily a Texans dominant. No, I'm just kidding. I think the Colts pretty easily win this one.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what Matt Ryan can do in Indianapolis.
Yeah, even without Matt Ryan, you got Jonathan Taylor.
They've got an okay running back in Indianapolis. They might be able to do a little bit of business there in Houston.
And not only that, I don't know what the Texans really have. Like, Davis Mills could be good because he was fairly good last year, kind of underrated.
I think Davis Mills will be good. Texans aren't a good team, though, so I just don't see them taking it. And maybe they could surprise us and keep it close, but I just feel like a combination of the Colts defense and then their offense with Jonathan Taylor, and who knows how good the passing game is going to be. I just think the Colts probably dominate this game. It'll probably be an easy win.
Yeah, the Texans just look one of those teams, like, individually, you look at player stats, and you're like, oh, Brandon Cooks was really good, or Davis Mills was really good, but then at the end, it's like, aside from, like, 3 or 4 maybe blowout losses or something, everything else is, like, close games that, like, oh, they could easily had a winning record or something.
Yeah, I think the Texans might surprise a few people this year, not to the playoffs, but with a little bit more than they're expected to, but they're definitely going to lose this first game.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm kind of leaning the same way in the second game too. I don't think the Steelers are going to be that good this year.
Really?
I don't think they're going to be that great.
Actually, I think that they'll be better than people are expecting, but unfortunately, I think Mike Tomlin is about to lose his, like, never having a losing season.
Yeah, I think
they'll be close.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to be the best or the worst team in the NFL, but I don't think they're coming to the playoffs or anything.
Yeah,
maybe Mitch Trubisky does really, really well, but I just don't think he's going to lead them.
They're kind of like the same thing with them and, like, the Falcons and stuff. It's like they may be close, or have a lot of close games that they lose, and things could be a lot different if they just come on top. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they won 10 or 11 games. I wouldn't be, like, horribly shocked, but I'm expecting.
Yeah, I just think, especially with this Week 1 matchup, the Bengals, everybody's healthy. You've got Jamar Chase coming back, T. Higgins, all those guys with Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon. I think the Bengals,
and it's in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I don't know if the Bengals are going to repeat going back to the Super Bowl this year, but they're still going to be a really good team, and the Steelers just don't match up that good, in my opinion, to the Bengals.
Now, the next one, I'm thinking Joe Flacco. Never mind.
Honestly, Ravens are going to win this one, but I'm not as big on the Ravens this year. I have Lamar Jackson on my fantasy team, but I don't know how many games they're going to win.
Really? I think the Ravens,
they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll make it farther.
They're going to win their division.
Yeah, they'll definitely make the playoffs, but much farther than that, I'm not sure. Week 1, though, it's pretty easy for them.
Yeah.
The Jets don't really stand a chance. Even if Zach Wilson's there, I'm not exactly sure they would stand a chance.
I mean, to be honest, at this point, Joe Flacco's look better.
Yeah, you've got to remember Joe Flacco is an elite quarterback. So, he took the Ravens to the Super Bowl there.
Yeah.
Next up,
so far we've agreed on all these.
Yeah, pretty much all of them have been pretty obvious. This one could get a little divisive, though.
Yeah.
Patriots Dolphins. A lot of hate over the Patriots this offseason.
Yeah, I think they get too much hate, but week 1, I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
I'm leaning towards the Dolphins, too. It's going to be really interesting to see how good this offense can be. You know, Tyreek Hill's coming in. A lot of people hate Tua. I don't think he's as bad as they say he is, but
yeah.
I don't think he's an elite quarterback. I think he might be a little bit of a bust from where he was drafted at, but I still think he's a really good quarterback. And
yeah, I think with a couple of these teams where they've got like new receivers or something, or they've lost a receiver, I could see it being they lose or struggle either early in the game or through the game as a whole.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily indicative of how the whole season's going to go.
Yeah, I think the Patriots still have a decent season, but I want to say the Dolphins' offense is going to get it together kind of early against this defense because they've given up a lot of points in a lot of games.
Yeah, the Patriots to me are kind of like how I see the Steelers. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they made it, but I also feel like they'd be just outside of it, especially with how much firepower the AFC
I mean,
has.
we could be surprised though. They could have Mac Jones take another leap. I mean, last year he was arguably the best quarterback out of that draft.
It's just, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of faith when your offensive play callers are Joe Judge and Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
But
all right. Next up, we have the Raiders and the Chargers. Davante Adams, former Packer, finally playing his first regular season game as a Raider.
This might be the toughest game here because I honestly would not be surprised if every team in this division made the playoffs. I doubt it'll happen just because of how much things would have to fall into place, but
I don't know. I have trouble siding, as much as I like Justin Herbert, as good as the Chargers have been, or as talented as their team is, I have trouble choosing them to win games just because it seems like they always find a way to lose. Yeah. It seems like no matter, they could be up by 30 and they find a way to lose games, as much as I hate to say it. And
this was a matchup that knocked the Chargers out of the playoffs last year, wasn't it?
After that dumb call on 4th down or whatever. Oh,
They're
man.
just going to kneel down and let the clock run out, and they called the timeout. Yeah. But no, I'm going to go with the Chargers here. I think, honestly, I think every team in this division is going to split. So I think they're going to, right now, if we get to that matchup later in the season, I don't know.
I'm gonna lean towards the Raiders on this one. I think Davante Adams makes a big difference there, and obviously Derek Carr's a really good quarterback, but not Hall of Fame quarterback.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna lean towards the Raiders. I think Davante Adams really improves their offense, and they'll be a good team this year. But I can completely go with the Chargers too. It's gonna be a close one there.
Yeah, so that's our first.
Yeah, that's the first different choice there.
Maybe the second. I don't know with this one here. Tomorrow's game, actually, or today. People are
a few hours from now when you watch this. I'll be posting this on Thursday morning, so it's going to be a Thursday night game. Yeah. Rams and the Bills, the defending champions, against
and the favorites,
arguably the best quarterback right now in the NFL, and Josh Allen.
I am going to go with the Bills myself.
I kind of think I'm kind of agreeing with you. I feel like the Rams might have a little bit of a hangover from the Super Bowl. They're going to be a really good team, and I just think it might take a few weeks for them to get back to that groove from last year. Losing Odell
is no longer intoxicated.
Yeah, I think losing Odell is a little bit of a bigger hit than most people think it will be, because he did play really well for them late in the season there and in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but
they did add Allen Robinson.
Yeah,
too,
but who knows what version of Allen Robinson they're gonna get.
Yeah, people act like Allen Robinson is an improvement over Odell. I don't see that.
No, Allen Robinson can easily be a second or third best receiver on your roster, but you just don't know what you're gonna get with him. He can be very inconsistent when it comes to the receiving.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like I see a lot of people talking about how this game is going to be very offensive and it's going to be like the best, most explosive season opener we've ever gotten. But I honestly would not be surprised if it is like that Jaguars-Bills game last year and the final score is like 9-6.
Yeah, the only problem I see with the Bills, and that's been an issue of theirs the last few years, and you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, have they addressed the running back position? Because I feel like last year that was one of their biggest weaknesses with, who was it, Zach Moss was their starter?
Yeah.
And they just didn't.
They just Singletary back.
Yeah, they brought him back.
And he's the starter, but Oh, they drafted James Cook, Dalvin Cook's brother,
Oh, okay.
which people were thinking. I mean, I hope he does. He's on my fantasy team.
Yeah,
but,
I think the Bills are a really good team, but that's what kind of held them back last year. Their lack of, they were really one-dimensional.
Yeah, really, their running game was Josh Allen.
Yeah. So
and occasionally Devin Singletary.
I think they take this one. It's probably going to be close, but I think they
Yeah.
win it in the end. And now we got an interesting matchup: the Jaguars versus the Commanders.
Very difficult.
I'm definitely going with the Commanders too. I think the Jaguars will win a few games, but I think they're still going to be a bad team.
Yeah, I'm thinking like they cap at like 6, maybe 7 wins.
I was saying 5 to 6 wins. It really all depends on how T-Law ends up playing.
Yeah, but I mean the Commanders, like, I don't get the Carson Wentz hate because he had some bad plays, but when you have almost 30 touchdowns and under 10 picks, I mean, I feel like if you're getting hated on like you're a bottom 5 quarterback, that's too much hate. Like, no matter how good your running game is, you don't throw for almost 30 touchdowns and be terrible.
It's definitely not a recipe for failure.
Like, if he had like 30 touchdowns and like 15 picks, I mean, that would be one thing, but he had 7 last year. So.
I think Carson Wentz is underrated. He kind of reminds me, obviously his peak was a lot higher, but he kind of reminds me of Mitch Trubisky, which is how much unwarranted hate he gets. Like, just playing at least a little bit above average, and they both, I mean, obviously Carson Wentz was at an MVP level before he got hurt a few years ago, but the hate level isn't really warranted.
Yeah. So I like the Commanders. I feel like they could, like, I mean, they could surprise people and like win the division. I would not think that's
they've got a good defense over there, I feel like, with Chase Young too,
which I do think he is injured. I think he may miss like,
is he injured right now?
I believe so. I'm thinking he might miss like, I think it may be the first 4 weeks he's out.
Yeah, let's see how long he's out for.
But like, I see a lot of people saying they're going to have like 3-4 wins on the season, and I do not get that whatsoever. Like,
and so he aggravated his already injured ACL.
So like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders get 8-9 wins on the season. But
I just think they're better than the Jaguars.
Yeah, definitely. And then we have
a very divisive one here.
Another very good revenge game. We got the Browns taking on the Panthers with Baker Mayfield and Jacoby Brissett.
I was gonna say Deshaun's out.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm still a little torn though.
I'm going with the Panthers.
I knew you were going to go with the Panthers.
Call me biased.
I knew you were going to go with the Panthers as soon as I saw it. And I just don't know. I mean, the Browns have a really good team. Like, they've got talent at a lot of good positions. But I just don't know how Jacoby Brissett's going to play. And I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a little bit better than people give him credit for. Yeah. But I think maybe Baker Mayfield comes out and, it's a revenge game. He's got to do good. If he does bad, that's not going to be a good look on him.
Yeah, so. And like, for all the hate Baker Mayfield can get, which, I mean, he's my favorite quarterback my favorite player in the NFL, but for all the hate he gets, like, when he has a chip on his shoulder and he's like, well, I mean, unless he's hurt like it was last year, but like, the game, it was the year before when they made the playoffs, everybody was talking about how terrible he was, and he like started the game against the Bengals bad. He was like 0 of 3 with a pick or something. Everyone was talking about how he was terrible, and then he completed like 25 straight passes. His only incompletion was a spike. Yeah. And he had like 5 touchdowns or something. So I'm not saying he's going to do that, but
I think it'll be close. Then I don't think they're going to blow him out, but they might win by a few touchdowns.
Yeah, that's like, no matter what, like, the Browns are still going to be in games because of nothing more than their defense and Nick Chubb.
They've got talent at the positions that matter, really.
Yeah.
And next up,
I still go with the Panthers.
Yeah, that's where I went with them. Next up, pretty high-powered matchup here in the Chiefs and the Cardinals. I don't know. How are the Chiefs going to be this year?
I think they're probably not going to be that much different, honestly.
I mean, you've got to think as long as they have Patrick Mahomes, they're going to be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, it's just like, they lost Mahomes, they lost
Tyreek Hill. Mahomes has been traded to Green Bay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Send Mason Crosby over.
They lost Tyreek and they lost Demarcus Robinson and Byron Pringle, but they replaced them.
They got Juju.
They got him. They got Marquez Valdes-Scantling. They drafted Sky Moore, and then they got the running back. What's his name? Isaiah Pacheco.
I believe so.
That.
Yeah.
Which he has the same number as Tyreek, which is weird to see.
I'm a big Clyde Edwards-Helaire fan. I think he's a good running back.
Yeah. And you can't forget Travis Kelce is still there.
Yeah.
So
I'm leaning
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
The Chiefs are going to be good. Yeah. The Cardinals, they're not going to have DeAndre Hopkins for the first couple weeks, but they got Marquise Brown.
They did lose. Didn't they lose Christian Kirk?
Yeah, they lost him too. I think they've got Marquise Brown, AJ Green. They still have Rondale Moore, which is his second year.
Cardinals are going to be good, but I just think Patrick Mahomes is going to overpower.
I think the Cardinals are going to kind of be the reverse of how they were last year. They're probably going to start out a little shaky, but then once D-Hop comes back, they'll find their rhythm and probably barely get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
or,
for
I don't
sure.
know. I don't say barely because there's not as much of a
they'll be a playoff, but playoff team, but I think they lose this game.
Yeah, same.
And next up, you've got your favorite team, the Giants, in a lopsided matchup.
I know.
I apologize to say it, but I'm taking the Titans on this one. I don't think you have much discussion around that. Derrick Henry comes back healthy. If he does, then
unless Brian Dable is able to turn Daniel Jones into Josh Allen 2.0, I don't know. I mean, even if Daniel Jones plays at his rookie season level, and but it would be everything would have to fall together. The defense would have to be top notch. Saquon would have to.
Saquon has to get back to Saquon because these last few years have not been it.
Yeah, you'd have to have a bunch of super glue ready for our receivers.
Evan Ingram.
No, he's on the Jaguars.
He ain't even there anymore. Y'all's Pro Bowl tight end, y'all let him walk.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to be surprised, but it's one of those. I'll see it, or I'll believe it when I see it.
Yep. And next up, probably, I would say one of the more interesting matchups. The Seahawks are going to be terrible, and it's a pretty easy one to choose, in my opinion.
Especially even with Drew Lock, I feel like there may be a little bit more, but with Geno Smith starting, I don't think there's any shot.
Yeah, I think they'll win a few games. I think the Seahawks are bad, and this one just interests me because first game as a Bronco, Russell Wilson has to go back to Seattle.
Yeah, it would be pretty crazy, all the headlines coming out if they did lose.
Yeah, imagine the Seahawks come out, Geno Smith throws 6 touchdowns and they whoop them or something. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, but I just don't see the Seahawks doing. I honestly, if it's not a blowout, will probably. I don't know. I do think this one probably will be a fairly lopsided win.
It could very easily be a blowout by halftime.
Yeah.
It depends. Geno Smith, if he plays like he did his first few years in the NFL, then the Seahawks stand no chance.
I mean, 'cause Geno, he didn't really play that bad last year when you look at his stats, but
if they get rookie
he just kind of seems
he might start punching his teammates.
It's just Geno's kind of
he's a placeholder.
Kind of I was gonna say Teddy Bridgewater, but Teddy Bridgewater I think is a whole level or two above.
Yeah, I wouldn't put them in the same category.
Yeah.
And we already know what I'm choosing in this next matchup. I'll never pick the Bears to win an NFL game. So I'm going 49ers. I'll let you do your spill, but
yeah, I would pick the Bears to win some games, but that's one game against the Lions and the Jags and the Texans.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Two, Justin Fields and Trey Lance both getting their first, start of the season starts. That's going to be fun to watch.
Unless Jimmy G comes out as the star.
Because last year, I think Andy Dalton came out first, and Justin Fields replaced him.
Yeah, because that's how it was. And of course, Jimmy G was the 49ers starter.
I mean, if it was up to me, the Bears would lose every single game the rest of their franchise, existence. But
you sound like a Packers fan.
Yeah, I know. I would never be a Packers fan. They're lame. They can't even win in the playoffs. I mean, why would I be a fan of that team? Let me just go
I mean,
take care of my COVID toe.
But yeah, I don't think I see a lot of people talking like the 49ers are gonna be like have the best record in the NFL, which like I see people saying they're gonna be like 13-4. I don't see that. Like
No.
I'm thinking more 9-8, 10-7.
Yeah, I'm thinking that I think if Trey Lance is at least a competent quarterback, Debo can help out with that. They've got a decent running back group, and the defense is one of the better ones, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
And
I think
George
they can.
Kittle and
Yeah,
Ayuk.
I think they can very easily be carried. Or Trey Lance, even if he's not great, I think he can very easily be carried to a solid season. So if he comes out really good, then the 49ers could have a great season. I don't see it being that good, but like you said, 9, 10 wins, something like that.
If he's like Patrick Mahomes his second year, then I could see him definitely winning the division.
Oh yeah,
but
for sure.
I still see them as second or third below the Rams and the Cardinals.
Yep.
So
that's pretty much how I see it.
We got the Eagles and the Lions. I think the Lions are going to shock some people. Like, I don't know. I've seen people say they'll be a playoff team. I don't really see that.
No, I think they'll shock people.
They'll be much improved from last year.
Definitely better than the Bears.
That's not saying much, though, whenever, what did the Lions start last year? 10-1 or something like that. But I can see them pushing maybe 7 wins.
Shockingly, I'm a big believer in Jared Goff. I hope he gets a chance. Once this team can build something around him, I hope he gets a chance to be their quarterback. I really hope they don't just replace him.
It'll be one of those, they build a team and then they draft Bryce Young.
Pretty much, that's probably what it's going to be. And then on the Eagles side, you've got Jalen Hurts, greatest quarterback to ever touch a football, apparently. Supposed to be the best fantasy player in fantasy football history this year.
Yeah, I don't know. People are building him up to be like Lamar, his MVP season. I don't think he'll be that good. I think he'll be better than.
I mean, he pretty much has to be better because he's gotten experience. He's had the whole season to start, so he's gonna be more. I wouldn't say he's gonna be a couple levels higher. I think he's just gonna be more refined and a better overall quarterback.
Yeah, I think he'll be kind of like Lamar. The year after his MVP season, like 25, 26 touchdowns and like 10 or 11 picks. Like, he'll be good, but he won't be like top 10 level. Yeah. But I think the Eagles are still going to be good. And I'm picking them to win this game.
With that in mind, I am picking the Lions. I'm calling the Lions shock the world in week 1, and then they lose like 9 straight afterwards. Remember, was that the Jaguars a few years ago that did that with Gardner Minshew?
They beat the Colts and
that's what it was.
And was it like Gardner Minshew said, we still have 15 more games to go, and they went 1-15.
I think that the Lions could do something similar to that. Probably not 1-15, but I'm gonna pick them to take this one in week 1.
I got you. I could see that too, but I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
Yeah. So next up.
The New Orleans Saints versus the Falcons.
They eat W's over there.
Yeah.
So
which I think they're going to be doing after this game.
Did the Falcons announce who's their starting quarterback? Is it Mariota or is it Ritter?
Yeah, it's Mariota.
Mariota.
He's
a good quarterback.
After I pick the Saints, part of me wants to pick the Falcons.
I just struggle to think where all the passing yards are going to go to for the Falcons.
I mean,
they got
Kyle Pitt, they got Drake London and Bryan Edwards.
Bryan Edwards, he hasn't really proven himself yet, as much as I would like him to as a Gamecock fan.
Don't forget they have Damiere Byrd.
Yeah, I think losing Calvin Ridley might be a bigger hit or is definitely going to be a huge hit to their offense, even if he wasn't as involved last year.
Yeah, like my biggest thing, I think the Falcons are going to be another team like, who was it we're talking about? What is it? Like the Steelers or somebody?
Yeah.
They're going to lose a lot of close games. Like, because I could see Mariota being good.
Yeah, he's definitely, he won a Heisman. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah. I'm just going to pick
also, at the same time, there's no way Cordero Patterson's as good as he was last year.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big hit.
At the ripe age of 31.
Yeah. He's been a return man his entire career, and now he wants to be a receiver again and running back again. And
hey.
I don't know who I'm gonna select in this next game. This is a really tough one for me. I have no dog in this fight, so I'm just gonna go out on a limb and do Georgia over here, the big G. That's what it stands for, I believe. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going with the Packers.
All right, I'm gonna pick opposite because I think because every year it seems like the Vikings and Packers do split.
Every year the Vikings play really, really strong against us. Their defense, they turn it up, and it is week 1, so everybody's well rested. They're all gonna be prepared. But
the biggest thing that makes me pick them, like if this was reversed and it was at Green Bay,
yeah,
I'd probably pick.
I could see that.
But
because
it's at home. I think. Go ahead.
I just think last year Aaron, he was trolling us in week 1. I think this year he's going to come out and do pretty good in week 1. And the biggest thing, obviously, that is around the Packers and around this game and every game going forward is how our receiving core does. If they end up being really bad, I probably would flip my prediction to the Vikings. But Aaron's got to throw the ball somewhere. So
that's the biggest thing. I'm thinking it's going to take a bit of time. They were the team I was thinking of earlier.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time to build chemistry with the receivers, and I don't know. Like I don't think it's going to take that long because it's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think the Vikings are just going to come in. I think the Vikings are going to surprise people this year and have double-digit wins. I don't think they're going to win the division.
Yeah, I think it depends on what happens to Dalvin Cook too.
Yeah.
If he can stay healthy, they can easily win double-digit games for sure.
The biggest thing I think is their new coach is making it a pass-heavy offense, which a pass-heavy offense and Justin Jefferson has already had the best start to any receiver's career, I'm pretty sure.
I guess if they make it a pass-heavy offense, I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. We'll just have to see how he performs in a really, really high-volume pass offense.
Yeah, which that's why I think, and he's got a coach now who actually likes him. Kirk Cousins does, because if you watch any press conference with
Mike Zimmer, was that? Yeah, Mike Zimmer.
Mike Zimmer, he always would refer to him just as Cousins. He wouldn't call him Kirk. He wouldn't call him. He'd just say, "Yes, I think Cousins played better than he has previously." And it's like, bro, this is your quarterback who's got 30 touchdowns. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I just can't choose against the Packers. I think our defense is going to be really good this year. So
yeah,
I could easily say the Vikings would win this one just because they always play. Pretty much every division game, I feel like, a rivalry game like this, they're going to play really tough. Because the Bears, even when the Bears are bad, they play tough against us. So do the Lions. The Lions always give us a run for our money. So it could go either way.
Yeah.
And
end it off. Have our last game
on as much as I hate the Cowboys, I'm kind of thinking of going with them on this one.
As much as I hate the Cowboys, I'm picking the Buccaneers.
You got to think about it. Tom Brady, he's 45 years old, however old he is. He's having issues in his life right now. He's not completely focused on football. He's gonna be looking downfield and he's gonna see visions of his wife walking down the sideline. He's gonna just drop the ball. So and
that's when they put in Blaine Gabbert and throws 5
No. That's when they put in Kyle Trask and he takes over the starting job, leads them to the Super Bowl.
That's when Julio Jones comes in at quarterback.
Yeah, I pick the Cowboys just because they're always really good in the regular season. The Cowboys very easily every year have a Super Bowl caliber team. They just never make it for whatever reason. Their offense is always really good, and their defense has been pretty decent the last few years.
That's the biggest thing with the Cowboys right now. Like a couple weeks into the season, I think it'll be different. But right now, a lot of their receivers are banged up because they got CeeDee Lamb, but aside from him, Michael Gallup is out. James Washington, they traded for him. He's out. I think their next receiver is Jalen Tolbert.
We'll have to see how the whole Elliott and Pollard back group goes.
Yeah.
That should be interesting to see. I think they should lean on Pollard a lot more than Elliott, but that's just my opinion.
Isn't Tony Pollard, isn't he more of a receiving back too?
Yeah, he does. He is pretty decent at that. But
I could see them using him more as a receiver.
Yeah, they'd definitely be better off.
Guys get healthy.
They'll definitely be better off running him in like a similar role to Aaron Jones for the Packers.
Yeah,
because he's been one of our better receivers the last few years.
Yeah, but no, my biggest thing I'm a Giants fan. I can't pick the Cowboys.
Yeah, I hate the
But-
Cowboys too, but I just feel like I don't know how good the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are going to be good, but they're one of those teams that you just feel like every year, Tom Brady's going to fall off this year, and then they go to the Super Bowl. You just don't know.
Yeah, that's why I don't think they're gonna fall off that much.
Well, they have a good defense. That's the good thing that's going for them. They've got
Yeah.
a really good receiving core. They've got a good defense. So
I think this will be a close game, but I just think the Buccaneers are gonna come out on top.
didn't they play last year early in the season, and it was
Yeah,
a
it
really
was
close game?
It was the first game. It was the Thursday night game.
Yeah, it wasn't
year.
like a game-winning field goal or something. It was something really
I think
close. I
so.
remember. Like the Cowboys came back late in the game and they lost by a point or
Yeah.
extra point or something. I don't know, but that finishes off.
It's better than losing on a quarterback run up the middle.
Yeah,
10 seconds left.
that's true. And that will conclude our Week 1 predictions. I'm pretty happy with mine.
Yeah,
We had a few
I
games
think-
there
let me
that we
see,
disagreed with.
we differed on, what was it? You chose the Raiders.
I
chose the
chose
Raiders, the Lions,
and
the
Cowboys.
Packers, and the
Yeah.
Cowboys. Yeah.
Yep.
So four differences.
Which I mean,
so-
all of my subscribers out there. This guy's a Giants fan, so he doesn't really know anything about football. No, I'm just kidding.
wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty fine with my predictions. I'm no expert or anything, but I feel like they're pretty evenly or unbiased as far as everything except for the Bears game goes. I'll just never choose
Yeah.
them. Bears could be
Yeah,
playing the last year's or the 0-16 Browns from a few years ago, and I still would choose the Browns.
Oh my.
Oh, Deshaun Kaiser is
Deshaun
going to take
Kaiser.
them to the Super Bowl that year. Yeah, that's. I'll never pick the Browns, or the Bears, not the Browns.
I was gonna say, man, you must really hate Jacoby Brissett, but yeah. So, I guess we're gonna be doing these every.
Yeah, I would
either Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, whichever days we're not, or I'm off of, with schoolwork and work. I think it'd be either Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, or Thursday morning, most likely at the latest. In my
Yeah.
opinion, that would be the easiest schedule.
Yeah, just so we can get it after the Monday game, but before the Thursday game.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. So, thank you, everybody. I'll do a little bit of an outro. If you do enjoy this type of content, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to both of our channels. I'll have the link down in my description to his channel, and I'm sure he'll do the same for my channel. Turn post notifications on so you never miss a video. This series, as we said, is going to be a weekly thing. I'm sure we'll talk about other NFL stuff in these videos too as they go along. Thank you guys for joining, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios, everybody.
See ya.